Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner podcast. My name is Scott. I'll be your host today. Got a great show for you today. We have a return guest from just a few months ago. She's gone and run her marathon. We're going to discuss the results in just a few minutes. As always, you can find this in the back episodes of our podcast at our website, ordinarymarathoner.com. Check it out if you get a chance. You can also now find them over on YouTube. We're downloading all the audio to the podcast on YouTube lately. I see a few of you guys over there. See a few got you guys watching the show or listening to the show, I guess, via YouTube. I like it just having another channel there. Love you guys subscribing too. I think we have like 46 subscribers. Always making me more popular in my daughter's eyes. The more subscribers I get over on YouTube. She brags to her friends, Dad has 46 subscribers. Well, when you start at none, right? I mean, it's pretty good. Anyway, what else we got? You can follow me over at Twitter at OrdMarathoner, O-R-D Marathoner. Follow me there. I'll follow you back. Get the conversation going on over there. Or you can find me, our discussion group over on Facebook. It's a great place to hang out, great place to talk about your running, to post your runs, post your workouts, do all that kind of stuff, post your races, lots of pictures this weekend. Today is Sunday. It is New York City Marathon Day, and a lot of you guys out there running. I'm tracking a bunch of you right now as we speak, and man, what a beautiful day in New York. I wish I could have been there. Ordinary Baby is imminent arrival. Less than 2 weeks now. Actually, I think it is 2 weeks from today is her due date. So we're on the bubble, ready to go. Is that all I got? I did my first Zwift workout today. You guys on Zwift? I don't know. So I'm on Zwift, and I took a little page from someone else's book, which is instead of putting my name in there, I am, my first name is actually O, and my last name is Ordinary Marathoner. It's just pretty cool to see when you pass me as I'm standing still and you pass me, you can see that I'm you're passing the Ordinary Marathoner. It's pretty cool. I like it. But so far so good. I actually did an FTP test today. For those of you guys who don't know cycling, it's like a test of your average power that you can put out. I think it's functional threshold power is what it stands for. But last year I was like a 197 and this year I was a 212. And I did that test, I did a half an hour workout. Like they do this little intro to Zwift workout. So I did that. And then right after that, I did the FTP test. So I don't know if you're really meant to do that because, really you're taking a lot of your energy away by doing the workout. But, I got right back on. And did the FTP test. I was trying to get a good solid workout in today and the half hour wasn't enough. So I did the FTP test on top of it and I was actually shocked. Very happy with the results of the FTP test. And, things are looking good. I've been posting a lot about challenging Oprah. Listen, I am not making fun of Oprah, people. Oprah ran a 4:29:15 marathon. That's crazy. That is a goal for anyone. So, I'm not making fun of Oprah. I don't want to get on her bad side. I'm just trying to beat her. That's all. And come February, Phoenix Marathon, I'm looking forward to beating Oprah. With that, I'm going to bring in today, since we're talking about marathon goals, I'm going to bring in today's guest. She was on the podcast a little over a month ago, I think, maybe 2 months ago. She was all set to run Marine Corps Marathon. That was about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago?
No, a week ago today.
Wow, 1 week ago. Katy Mayo, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Scott.
I am so proud of you.
Thank you. Yep.
So we were here about a month or two ago, and we were talking about, and I got to tell you, so we each had a goal, right? We each had a marathon ahead of us, and we each had a goal. And yours was to go to Marine Corps Marathon and get through 6 hours, and mine was to run Hartford Marathon and get through 5 hours. And I got to tell you, I don't know how you felt about those two goals, but I felt like I was watching you train and you were kicking ass. You were doing everything that your coach wanted you to do. You seemed to be hitting all the marks that you wanted. And every time, you're like, oh, I don't feel like I'm going fast, but I did what my coach wanted me to do. And you're in the heart rate training and you're in the right zones and you're running the right pace. Yep. And I was just feeling so good for you. I thought that there was no way I was going to get 5 hours at Hartford. but we both came through.
I know.
And it's just,
Yep.
I think, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, how many times have you done this race?
3. That was my 3rd.
That was your 3rd. And so 6 hours was like this magic mark for you.
Yep.
Where you were just, and what was last year's time, if you can refresh our memory?
6:25.
Yeah.
And the year before was 6:26.
Yeah.
So I improved my time in a year by literally a minute, which I was very disappointed.
Meaning a minute?
Year.
Oh, a minute. Oh, okay. From
1 minute fast.
Right.
From the first. So first year.
To second.
First year, I really just wanted to finish, beat the bridge, all that stuff, which I did.
Yeah.
And I was thrilled about that. Last year, I thought I was training the right way, and I had a different coach. But I don't know. And the weather, it was hot too. I mean, it was crazy hot. But anyway, when I finished, I literally was 1 minute faster than the year before. And I have to tell you, I was very disdisappointed. Very disappointed.
Well, I remember and we talked about that. And and rightfully so, I think you were concerned that maybe we're just a 6.5 hour marathoner. And then,
Exactly. Yep.
And it's really hard to improve. But what was the final time this year?
5:47.
Wow. I mean, so that is a major, that's almost a minute a mile pace.
Yeah. Yep.
That's incredible. And you're beating the bridge handily now. Now you're like, you don't even care.
You know what? It's funny this year, I didn't even calculate out the times. Last year, the first year, I was calculating, oh my God, got to hit it by then or whatever. And then this year, I think it was at mile 16 where you have to get through the gauntlet at 17. And all of a sudden I'm like, God, I don't even know, have I even hit it yet? I don't even know what time of day it is. I wasn't even thinking about it, but, and I made it fine, but.
So what was the race like? So what were you, how were you nervous at the start? Were you,
I was not nervous. I wasn't nervous at all, which is really kind of funny. And
because you seemed nervous leading up to it. You seemed like.
I was nervous. Yeah, I was absolutely nervous. I was nervous the day before. I was okay the night before because we had the pasta dinner. I had met a couple of guys that ran last year for the same charity. So we all sat together at the dinner and stuff. So that kind of took my mind off it. I actually slept okay the night before.
That's key. That's really key.
And I wasn't nervous that morning. It's funny because I met one of those guys, the two of them was running the marathon too. One was running the 10K. And we met in the hotel. We all walked in the tent together. He stuck with me the whole time, even walking to the start. He was going for under 4 hours.
Wow.
So we're in a totally different category. But you know what? Nice guy. And, we're walking to the start. And I said, listen, I got to stop and go to the bathroom one more time. And there were probably 20 people in line. I said, listen, you go because, we still had time. He goes, no, lady, I'm sticking with you. He goes, hey, give me all your stuff. And I gave him my bells and everything. And he said, no. He said, I'm going to wait for you. So, and I'll tell you a story about the end after we talk about that. But no, I wasn't nervous. And when I started out, sometimes I get this, or I used to get it, where all of a sudden I can't catch my breath or I forget how to swallow. And I know for a fact it's a nervous thing.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It used to happen to me in the middle of a race, all of a sudden I'd start forgetting how to breathe, not the regular out of breath stuff, something different. It was bizarre. I hardly ever get that anymore. And I was expecting to have it that morning and I didn't have it at all. So, yeah.
So you think you were just comfortable? This is your 3rd marathon. So you think you're just comfortable with the setting or do you think you were comfortable with your training? Because I feel like you put a lot of pressure on yourself this time to get your goal. And I guess what I was concerned for, was if you, if you didn't get it.
Me too.
I was concerned, not necessarily that you're going to be fine. It's not like you're going to go into some crazy depression. And
oh no,
I was just concerned that you would stop running and not see it as something you could improve in. But tracking you along the way and watching you along the way, and I was at my daughter's. She's a cheerleader at a football game, and I was checking the thing all the time. And speaking of the devil, she just walked in. I haven't seen her in a couple of days. Hi, Sammy.
Hi.
That's Katy.
I hear so much about.
You're on the podcast. So she was cheering, and I just kept checking my phone, and And I remember, the way that Marine Corps does it, first of all, their tracking is terrible. It's not really easy to tell.
Every year it's terrible. So then everybody complains about it.
Yeah. And you kept, so they give you like your checkpoint that you hit, and they give you like a pace, your pace. And I couldn't figure out, and I probably could have just pulled the calculator out and figured it out on my own, whether or not they were giving me a pace for your total overall pace or just that segment or what. And I just kept watching the pace, and naturally it's usually, unless you're really working hard to do like negative splits, it's really hard to do negative splits in a marathon. But you started out around, you told me that you were looking at for about a 12.5 pace, and I think you hit that through the first checkpoint. And then the next couple checkpoints was like a 12:52 pace. And I was I just hoping that you weren't, and it could have been hills, because I know that there's a hill.
I know exactly what it was, which I think is helpful to me for the next time around. I know exactly when I hit it, and I know why I slowed down. Do you want to hear that now?
Sure. No, I do. Let's hear it.
So we talked about the gels. She had me on the nutrition, exactly what to take, like exactly what to eat and drink that morning. Every long run, I did the same thing. I stuck to the nutrition. I never varied from it. So she has me taking one every 40 to 45 minutes. So, which meant there were like 7 of them I had to take, which that in itself was a challenge, trying to figure out where to put them. But so I said, I'm not going to be able to mathematically, and you and I talked about this. I said, I'm not going to be able to do any math after like those first 5 miles. So I said, so how are we going to make this work? She said, let's do it by miles. So it was like mile 3, mile 7. We did 3 mile, 4 mile, 3 mile, 4 mile. And I wrote them on my arm because you get to like mile 10, you start thinking.
Did I do it? Like, did I have it at 9?
Where am I? So I think it was the 14 mile one. I was supposed to take it. And I was starting to get that kind of fuzzy, like, am I at 14? Did I pass 14? Like, you sort of forget. So I didn't take one. And all of a sudden, that was about when my pace started to slow. All of a sudden, I started like walking. I'm like, what is the matter with me? Like, I had that terrible feeling like I can't go on. And I'm like, wait a minute. I just hit mile 15. I'm like, did I take that, Joe? Like, did I not take it? So I pulled out what I had left.
Yeah, you counted.
And I counted. I should have had 3. I had 4. So I missed the last one. And I'm like, that's what it was. Now, honestly, I don't know if that's really what it was, but I took it right then. And within like 10 minutes, I started to pick back up again. I'm like, yeah, that was it. So even if it was in my head, it certainly helped me. And then it just kind of continued on. I definitely felt better.
Yeah. And I think that's a common problem. One of the things that I do sometimes is, and you said do you have a water belt? Do you carry water?
Yeah. No, I never did before, but.
Yeah. So like one of the things that I'll do, because when you take the gel, you're supposed to take it with water. So if you're carrying your own water, you could kind of take it whenever you want to take it.
That's right. Yeah.
So typically in some of these races, in the big marathons, they'll have a water station every mile. So if all right, at the mile 10 station, I'm taking a gel, and then your pace is around 10, say it's, whatever average. Then at the mile 14, I got it. And usually I'll take salt too. So I'll be like, I'll alternate a gel, and then 2 stations later I'll do salt, and then 2 stations later I'll do gel, and then 2 stations later I'll do, and that's worked for me in the past. The last marathon, I kind of blew up my nutrition around mile 16. Since I hadn't done any long runs, I hadn't run past 15 miles all training. Once I got that far, I was starting to get nervous about like my digestive system and how it would take more gels. And I'm like, I'm doing really well here. I don't want to risk like having to take a 10-minute bathroom break.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I hear you.
So, I wound up just like, I think I took 1 gel over the last 10 miles, which probably wasn't enough, but, similar story, I guess. And I use it sometimes when, I use it as a, what's the word? Like a little motivation, I guess, almost like, all right, I just got to run 2 more miles and then I get a little treat.
Yeah. Yep. So, and I also stopped at every water stop because she told me to walk through every one of them, take a cup of Gatorade and a cup of water at every. She said whether you want it or not, do it at every single one of them. So I did. So
yeah, I do the same thing with the water. I've had issues with Gatorade in the past. And really that came with, what it came with. I was training for my first marathon, and I would train with Gatorade, and I was also taking gels at the same time, which was probably And my coach said, "Don't do that. Like that's too much sugar, too many calories." And I think it was. And then when I tried to go back on the Gatorade and figure out how to the proper mix, it just didn't work for me. So I go with water and gels, and I try to take the gels that have the extra salt, the extra sodium. And so like sea salt chocolate is one of the goo gels that has extra salt in it, so that I don't have to take either the base salt or whatever salt pill I'm taking at the time. I don't know. The things we go through.
I don't know. Just that worked for me, and I really could see it different. And I talked to her about it afterwards, and she said, it definitely. She said that's probably one of the biggest problems that people have. They don't do the nutrition part right. So that's something I never did last year or the year before. I tried to like concoct my own stuff, and I did some UCAN, but I take like beans. I don't know, and Tailwind while I was doing the UCANs. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So, and she was very, and I didn't, but she's very like matter of fact. She's like, no, this is what you're going to do, and you're going to take this, and unless you have a big issue with it, then this is what we're going to do. And even like before the runs, the long run and the marathon, like she told me what to have for breakfast. Like it was the same thing, which never seemed like a lot of food to me. It was a banana, a cup of applesauce, 8 ounces of water with protein powder in it, and 24 ounces of Gatorade.
Okay. Gatorade. Yeah. Not a lot of food. Interesting.
No, not a lot of food. Not a lot of food. And I was always kind of feeling hungry at the start, but I was okay once I got going. So I don't know.
You know what I find too is that it just you nail down nutrition. The more you practice. So
absolutely.
The more you're practicing long runs, the more you're doing them in training, the better you get at nutrition. And I've tried things where, I overloaded myself with food an hour before a run because someone told me I was supposed to have 1,000 calories. And then I went and ran, and I did like my 15-mile run, I did like 4 miles because it just...
I remember when that happened to you.
And I was so angry at myself. Not angry. I was angry that I wasn't able to do the run, but I was kind of, in a weird way, I was happy that I tried it. And I figured out that it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's one of those things where it just comes with practice, and really it's part of the training. So the more you train, the more you get used to nutrition, the more things you can try. Because doing a long run is not something you do more than once a week. It's not like you're running 15 miles a day for any extended period of time. Yeah, it's a 1 week thing.
Yeah, I mean, a couple. And what did I forget? Is when you were just saying that my longest was what 16.
I think you said,
But, and everybody, I'll tell you, was like, "Are you kidding me? You're only going to 16? Isn't it going to freak you out or whatever?" And at that point, I have to put all my trust in her. Like and that's when she sent me that article that I sent to you about the long run. You don't really need the 18, the 20, or whatever. And obviously, it worked all right for me. So
yeah, it did, and I've read it. I've read stuff too that, I think the 20-mile run, which is the typical training program, a lot of that is for just the mental aspect. But you've done this before. You've done this twice before. So you know what it takes. And I think, and to a certain degree, I think that benefited me in Hartford as well. I mean, I didn't run more than half a marathon, I think, before.
I know, I remember.
So it made me really nervous. But then again, just the experience of doing 6 of these things before, it helps you in the long run. It just, you get more used to it, I think. But anyway, let's go back to your race, because I think I'm veering off topic here a little bit. But so where on the course were you when you realized that you had it?
That's kind of funny because, my watch was off. Because I was obviously not running the tandems, and I remember the first year I ran like 27 miles, and then last year I tried to do it better so I wouldn't run so much extra, and I cut that way down. So this year I'm like, I'll just stick to one side. I don't know why I was thinking that, and whatever. Probably like the first mile, maybe the first mile and a half, my watch was already off by almost a quarter of a mile, and I'm like, well, that throws that out the window. And then every time I hit the mile mark, it seemed to get further and further. So then it was like a half mile off. So that was kind of screwing with me. And then when I hit like the half marathon thing, but I'm still looking at my watch going, well, if my watch says under 6 hours, no matter when I start or what I did, doesn't that mean I'll finish under 6? But, you know how like your head starts doing these crazy things?
I was so off with my calculations in Hartford, and I really thought that I had extra time. And when I started getting down to it, I was like, I don't have extra time. Like, I gotta move.
Well, so I'm just going along thinking, yeah, I'm doing all right. I wasn't going to stop to try to calculate anything. And I had the lapping feature on the watch,
Okay.
which kept pace for every mile that you're in.
Okay.
Which is what you wanted me to do. So I knew I was pretty close to my 12:30. A couple I was like under that. A few I crept over that, but I'm thinking in my head, I went over that. But remember those first couple I was under that. So I'm thinking maybe that'll balance out.
Yeah.
So I get on the bridge. I'm on the bridge, and I actually felt good at the bridge time. I don't know what it is. I actually get better when I get to the bridge, which is so bizarre. And I see the 5:30 pace group in front of me, and I'm like right in front of me.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell they came from because I didn't see one pacing flag the entire race. I never saw the beat the bridge ones. And all of a sudden there they are in front of me, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute now. If they're only right there and I'm right behind them, that's got to be a good thing. And then I'm thinking, is it, or is my start time different? And I'm still trying to figure out how this is working. I'm like, nope, as long as I can see them, I think that's a good thing. Well, then I started to lose them. I couldn't see them anymore. And I'm writing that off too. They went around the corner or whatever. And I said, I can't let that get in my head. I don't know where they are. And I'm not trying to beat 5:30 anyway. So screw it. I'll just keep going. And I kept looking at my watch. Now my time's slowing a little bit. I'm like, shit, I only have like 10 minutes maybe, like a 10-minute buff an hour. Before I had like a 20-minute, and I'm like getting closer. But I kind of felt like I was okay. I think like probably not to like mile 23 or 24. I was like, yeah, I think I can do this. So, and then I actually picked it up a little bit. My pace started to improve a little bit towards the end, which is kind of
I feel like
strange.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think at that point I knew I had the 20-minute buffer, but it was narrowing now. And I'm like, okay, I really can't screw around at all now. Like, I really got to just keep going. But still wasn't 100% sure. So I come around the corner to go up the little hill there to the end.
Okay, yeah. We talked about this actually last week with Glenn's. I don't know if you listened to the podcast, but Glenn Eisenstein's son, Tony, ran it too, and we were talking about the hill and how.
I actually listened to that one, because I haven't run long enough to listen to that. I only listened to the.
You get some time off. You're allowed to, a good week or two off.
So I came around the corner to go up the hill, and the two guys that were in the charity with me, that had been started with whatever, are standing at the bottom of the hill, yelling and screaming for me. And I had my Boston Throng shirt on, which I have to tell you, that was an awesome choice. So many people on the course, you feel like they're all cheering for you. And one of the guys says to me, oh my God, he goes, Boston, you got it. He points to his watch. He goes, you did it, because he knew what I was after. Yeah. And he's like, you got it, you did it. And then the other guy yells out, and you're a wicked pisser. They kept making fun of my accent the whole weekend. Like, come on, say it again. It's wicked pisser. And he screams at the top of his lungs, and off I went up that hill. And at that point, I knew I had it. So
that hill.
Failing.
That hill is such an amazing feature of the course. It's a steep, short hill. It's not too long, and you get there, and it's like you've exhausted everything.
Yep.
You're at mile 26.15 of a marathon. You've exhausted everything, and they're just something about the people there screaming at you and yelling at you and getting you up that hill.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's that race. I tell you, that race is between the Blue Mile, which I love, and we talked about that last week too. But it's just such a great, and they call it the People's Marathon. And one of the reasons it is because they don't give out any prize money, from what I understand.
Right, I know.
So the pros don't do it. The pros don't go. Right. And typically someone from the military wins a lot. I don't know if they always do, but. Someone, they have to find one, I guess, really good endurance runner in the Army or.
Right.
So,
but it is a great race, and I already knew. I mean, although I must say, like mile 17, I was kind of feeling, you get that feeling. I'm like, yeah, this is it. I knew I would finish. I'm like, this is it. I'll be a 3-time marathoner. I could be done with distance running. Sucks. I don't want to do this again. And then like at mile 20 going over the bridge, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely going to do this again. I mean, as soon as I crossed over, I'm like, yeah, I'll be back next year.
I'm so happy to hear that, because you know what? And it's, I get the same way as like sometimes at the end of a race, I'm just like, why do I do this to myself? Like, why do I put myself through that? And then, and it's funny because like, so it's almost like you love running, but I don't actually love the act of running. I like the way it makes me feel when I'm done.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't fall in love with it. I did 11, and I think that's one of the reasons why I can kind of, like you don't do a lot of treadmill running, but I do a lot of treadmill running. And one of the reasons why is because I actually don't like the act of running, but I know in order to do what I want to do, I have to do it. So I can do it on the treadmill because, I feel like I know I need to get it done no matter what. And I don't know, I do like running outside too. I didn't do it a lot this year. I don't know why. I stuck to the treadmill. I said it before. I train like Drago and not like Rocky, and I wish it was the other way around. So Stephanie and I had just started. She never watched any of the Rockies.
I saw, and I was like, oh my God, that's the best thing ever. When I saw that you guys had watched them, I'm like, that's one of my favorite things. And that one.
Yeah, and it doesn't get old either. It's great. The whole,
never.
It's so rewatchable. So we watched the last couple weeks. We watched Rockies 1 through 4. We skipped 5 because I pretend that one doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And then last night we actually watched Rocky Balboa, which is the one where he goes against, he's like 50 years old and he goes against the younger guy. And then we watched Creed. Now, did you like it? It was my least favorite of the ones that we watched.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. And I don't know what it was. I didn't hate it as much as I hated Rocky 5.
Yeah, I didn't like Rocky 5 either.
So you liked it?
I liked Creed, yeah, I did.
There was, you know what it is? I feel like they're trying to hand off the franchise, right? They're trying to hand it off from Rocky to Apollo Creed's son.
Right.
But I feel like, the Rocky one, Rocky was the main character and you loved him. Yeah. And you learned his story. And even like his coach Mick was like a secondary character. Like you knew him as he's just all wise. He's just, Yeah. And I don't know that Rocky does it as a coach for me, because I don't know that he gets a couple good speeches, but like he doesn't have the wisdom. He doesn't, it's not, you like.
He's different.
And the story is still Rocky. It never really transferred over to Creed's son. So I didn't really, I don't know. And I kind of felt like the fight was like, I don't know. Yeah. I knew what was going to happen. But there's a new one. Creed 2 is coming out. So did you hear about Creed 2?
Yes, did you talk about it
I think so.
The page?
I think we talked about it on the page, because supposedly he's fighting Drago's son from Rocky, which is like, again, it's like, it's either the worst thing I've ever heard or the most awesome thing I've ever heard. And I can't figure out which one.
Yeah. Yep.
So but
the Rocky race is this coming weekend.
Oh, in Philly.
Philly.
Yeah, I heard about that, because do they run the stairs? I think they do, right?
I don't know what they do, but I've been dying to do that forever. So I wouldn't tell a lot of people this, but so this morning I was Googling some flights. Because it's a long weekend, the flights are like crazy expensive. And then somebody said, you could drive. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm going there Tuesday for work anyway, and then I have to go next week. So I'm like, that'd be 3 trips to Philly in like a week and a half. I don't know, that seems kind of crazy. So maybe I'll save that for next year.
So let's talk a little bit about Marine Corps Marathon next year.
Are you going to tell me you guys aren't coming?
No, I'm not going to tell you that. All I'm telling you, so I've had this race scheduled or circled on my calendar for probably at least a year, because I'm going. I don't know if I'm running now. And the reason is because we don't know what we're going to do with the kids.
I know. So that's why when you said that, I'm like, how's that all going to work? But
so we have so my mother-in-law can come and watch the kids, and we're going to be doing that actually for like 2 weekends, where she comes and watches the baby. Stephanie has to go to San Diego for work, and we're going to go there. And there was another weekend too. It might be a race weekend actually. Oh, Lake Placid. Lake Placid. I think of Lake Placid. Maybe it was Mont Tremblant next year, where we're going to need her to come along with us. So, I think we've exhausted our babysitting for next year. And plus, and I do like the thought of having, especially Sam. She's going to be 10. I like the thought of her going to be there. I don't want to leave her home. I like her being with me.
Right. Yep.
So there's a chance that I do, and also it's next year's really Stephanie's year. I mean, she's had the baby. She's she's having the baby in 2 weeks. Is the 2 weeks of due date? Obviously, they come when they come.
After that.
So we're definitely going. It's the big race. It's the big race on our calendar for our fall marathon next year. And we know a lot of people going. Ray Magana's going. Debbie Early's going. There's more too. I can't think.
There's a bunch.
Yeah.
In the whole group I went with, there was like 7 or 8 of us, however many were in that group. Pretty sure they're all going back next year.
Yeah.
Like they planned their year like way ahead, and they're all going back next year.
That's great. So I'm looking forward. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a big group and going. I might be the spectator, which is fine too, because if we wind up all staying at the same hotel or close by, and people need me to carry stuff or need me to do things, I'll be there for everyone. So, it might not be the worst thing in the world, but I'm holding out hope that maybe something happens where I can run it, because I love the race and I would love to run it.
Yeah, it is a great race. Yeah, there's just there's nothing. I don't know. I've never done another one, but that was your son, I think, behind you. Oh, the sun behind.
Yeah, the sun's dropping. What is it? It's so early too. It's so early.
I know.
The clocks moved back today, and
yep.
Oh, man.
So the other thing I was going to tell you too about the heart rate training. So it obviously works for me.
Yeah.
It worked for me. You know what I mean? Even though and I said to somebody, I ran with somebody yesterday. We actually ran that race I told you yesterday. And I was kind of trying to help her. She ran her first one at Mount Desert in Maine, like 2 weeks before Marine Corps, whatever. She was having huge pacing issues or whatever. Anyway, we chit-chat about different stuff, and I told her about the heart rate stuff. And not that I'm any expert, but even during Marine Corps, I could tell when I was out of the zone that gets me kind of in trouble, because that's when I would all of a sudden feel like I'd have to walk, and I'd look down at my watch and I'm like, yep, I'm like, I should be at 58. I'm at like 62 or 3. I'd stop, I'd walk, I'd let my heart rate come down. Now, I didn't run this race by heart rate. She gave me a pace to stick to.
Yeah.
But I kind of reverted back to the heart rate because I sort of knew that. And so when it was up too high, I just walk. I'd let it come down to like 155, and then I'd start running again and try to keep it as low as I could. But it definitely makes a huge difference.
So let me ask you this: Did you talk to your coach about that happening during the race, and what was her feedback in terms of, like, did she think that, like, I'll tell you what it seems to me. It seems to me like that was really smart of you to do. That you learn. That's learning from training. And seeing what your body's capable of, and even though your pace was slowing and it wasn't up to speed of what your goal was at that moment, you knew that you needed to slow down, or else you were going to be in trouble later. So, what did your coach say?
So, yeah, she thought that was great. She said, and I told you, and she did say it in the beginning. She said, you'll know your heart rate without looking at your watch. And she was, I mean, I've been able to do that now for probably 4 months. I bet, like, I can tell by my breathing how I feel, almost exactly where my heart rate will be.
Wow.
So she said that was great, that I was able to, kind of figure out where it was and then adjust it from there. And I didn't panic as much this time. Like I don't know what it was. I think I told you this maybe the last time. I felt like it was in better control this time.
Yeah.
Like my heart rate went up, or I started to get out of breath. But I didn't get that feeling like, oh my God, I'm at mile 17. What's going to happen at 19 and 20 and 23? Like I didn't have that. I just said, you know what? This might be a crappy 14-minute mile, but the next one might be great. And I'm just going to worry about that when I get to it. And that's something that I tend to do with all my races is, I'm on mile 1. I'm like, a little out of breath. Oh my God, what am I going to do at mile 20? And I'm already starting to worry about mile 20 when I'm on mile 2. But I seem to do less and less of that now. Maybe I'm just more confident. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? It is. It's probably part of it is confidence, I would think, and experience. Again, having done two of them,
Yep.
and training and knowing where you are. It's. I guess maybe you had more fear too in the beginning. You know, you fear. You start running. You're at mile 2, and you're like, oh yeah, what am I gonna be like at mile 20? You're like, I mean, that's fear. I mean, that's it's warranted fear. It's, you know.
It's fear, but yeah, you're right. It is fear, I guess. And fear of what? Fear that you're going to fail, fear you're going to be disappointed in yourself. Like what? And I kind of thought about you guys too. I'm like, I have all those people behind me on that page cheering for me. What do I say now when I come back if I don't hit my goal? You know, I mean, obviously it's not like you wouldn't talk to me again, but it was in the back of my mind, but maybe that was a good thing.
Well, you know, and it's funny. So I kind of went through a little bit of that too, and I've gone through it before. Obviously, when I did Lake Placid and I DNF'd. One of the reasons why I even started and tried that race was because I felt like I owed it to everybody that listens or people that, you know, that are in the group. And I knew that I had people watching, and, you know, I figured maybe that would help push me on, and it did when I needed it, but it just wasn't enough. I just had, because if you're not trained, you're not trained. And it's, you know, that was, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to just be like, you know, to face a failure when it happens. But, you know, I watch Rocky, right? So it's not about failing. It's about how you get up, right?
Right.
So, you know, it's, I don't know. It's, so when I did Hartford and I was kind of gunning for 5, and, you know, the second goal was just to PR it. I had a little of that too. And I remember getting the starting line and thinking, I'm not ready. I'm not going to be able to do 5. Just go for the PR and, you know, and just be happy with that. And then as the race was going, I'm like, wow, I'm doing pretty good here.
You did great. Yeah. I was thrilled for you. So, yep. So you had a good couple of months.
We did. Both of us. We both, successful marathon season.
Yep, definitely. Now, do you have new goals?
I do, yes. Yeah. That was a good segue for me. Thank you.
Well, I figured you were going to ask me too, so I had already thought about what mine are, but go ahead and tell me.
Well, so I think, you've seen it on the discussion group, but, so, you know, I did 5 hours in Hartford, and I'm doing the Phoenix Marathon in February.
Yep.
When I think of time in my head, I'm like, all right, the next goal time for me is 4.5. That's just, I think of it in half-hour blocks. That's just my mental. I think of it as half-hour blocks, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's right or wrong, or for me or for anybody else. But so I've been saying I'm going to beat Oprah, but I don't really have like this really anti-Oprah. I got to go.
It's just everybody kind of has that thing, and you know, before I was actually a marathoner, and I never realized, but. Damn, she did okay.
She did well.
And no matter how much money she has or anything else, she still had to run that, even with a trainer every day.
Trainer, personal chef.
I couldn't break 4:30 if I had somebody with me every minute of my day training with me. I still probably couldn't get to a 4:30. So I give her a lot of credit for that.
And I don't know what her age was. I mean, I would guess she was not really, you know, she's not in her 20s. She's probably like 40.
Yeah, I think they're like her 40s.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, she had trainers, she had a personal chef, she's got all this, but still 4.5 is very impressive. Yeah, and she was in shape too. If you see pictures of her finishing,
she was. Yeah,
she was in shape. You know, that was light Oprah.
Yep.
It was light Oprah.
Well, light Scott is going to do it too, right?
I got to drop some weight. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I have 2 advantages right off the bat. One is, Phoenix is a Boston qualifier. It is generally a downhill marathon. People go there to qualify for Boston because it's a fast marathon.
Okay.
So if you take the average finishers for every marathon, you know, there's one in Lowell too. Actually, that's a super fast Boston qualifier. So you know, people who want to qualify for Boston, they search out the fastest races in terms of layout. So this one's mostly downhill. There's very few uphills. I ran the half marathon last year, but the downhills are mostly in the first half, so I didn't get to experience them. So I figure I'm starting. I get 5 to 10 minutes just from the course itself.
Yeah.
Hartford's flat, but the downhill helps me. And then I think, I've been on a good streak lately, and I've been losing weight. I'm down about 15 pounds in the last 2 or 3 months.
Good for you.
Yeah, and if I can do another...
Yeah, you look it.
Thank you. And if I could do another 10 to 15 by February, which should be doable, it's not out of the question.
Right.
That's another 5-10 minutes,
Yep.
and I've been training, I said I'm on the treadmill, but the treadmill, the one good thing about it is it keeps you on pace.
Right.
So I've been training and using about a 10-minute mile pace with my long runs, and just trying. My long runs haven't really eclipsed more than 11 miles since, I just did Hartford 4 weeks ago. So I did a 10 miler, I did 11 miler yesterday, but I did like a 9:33 pace, because I went up. Yeah.
Impressive.
But if I could, and I think the Oprah time is like 10:17.
Yep.
So if I'm doing 11 miles now, and I have 3 more weeks to train, or 3 more months to train.
Yeah.
And I have the advantage of the course and the advantage of losing, 10 to 15 pounds. 4.5 seems like the goal. It seems like
good for you.
it's aggressive.
Crazy.
It's aggressive.
Yeah.
But I'm still in the back of my mind too, as I still have Ironman Lake Placid next year, and I've been hitting the bike like crazy. So I got a lot. I'm burning calories. I gotta get back down to my playing weight, and we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
So we talked about that whole weight thing.
Yeah.
So you think it's just calories in, calories out, or whatever? Because honestly,
I don't know. Go ahead.
You don't know.
I think that calories in, calories out. Number one, it's a very general thing. I think.
Okay.
I think if you go by it, and you have to be very vigilant in how you eat, and you have to measure your food, and because a lot of people I ate 6 ounces of chicken. Well, how did you know it was 6 ounces? Well, I just looked at it. It looked like 6 ounces, but then they had 12.
Yeah. And I think maybe that's. I don't know what my issue. I honestly don't know what my issue is. I felt like all summer I was really good on track. I didn't eat any crap. Hardly drank at all. A few beers here and there. Nothing. I drank a ton of water. I drank at least 60 to 70 ounces every day, like I was supposed to. Like I felt like I did, and I gained 6 pounds this summer.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what the hell I'm doing wrong about that.
Yeah,
like I don't know how to fix this.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm even to a more degree, because I finished Lake Placid last year at 200 pounds, and I got up to 238. 4 months ago. How did I gain almost 40 pounds in a year? I don't. And meanwhile, I didn't train as hard, but I was training. I wasn't, I wasn't.
It wasn't like you were eating and just sitting on the couch.
And I kind of, I did let the diet go, and I kind of, I drank a little more. No, I wasn't like pounding beers or nothing, but when I was in training and focused for Ironman, I go a month without having a beer, and now, I have a couple nights a week. Maybe I have a few. Who knows? But I've kind of cut a lot of that out. And even now, so we went out to dinner last night, and I had 2 beers. That's in the scheme of things, that's nothing, versus where I was before. When I was 280 pounds, I was drinking a 12-pack on every Saturday. So,
Yeah, I don't.
It's all relative.
I've got to see if I can somehow, maybe even with the train or whatever, figure out how to fix that. Because if she just says to me, "Listen, you need to do this, this, and this," and I guarantee that you'll lose that last 15, I'll be like, okay, and I'll do it. But I don't know what to do.
So I've been talking to a dietitian, Allison Knott, who's been on the page here and there. It might be worth consulting just to chat with her and see, or find a dietitian, near you that you trust, someone that you trust, or maybe your coach knows somebody.
She actually is one, and told me she would help me, but not. When I brought it up in the beginning, when I first got her in March, she said you kind of have to make a decision. Either you're going to train long distance for this marathon, or you want to drop 15 pounds. You can't do both of them at the same time.
So maybe now is the better time.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Because once if you lose the 10 to 15, then then you start training, maybe you stay at that level. But it's hard when you're training, because your body wants to fuel all that calorie burn and all that stuff. It's hard. It's hard to lose weight in that mode. So let's go back to your goals for next year.
Okay.
I know you're obviously doing Marine Corps.
Yep.
Again.
So you can probably figure out what my goal for that will be.
I'm thinking 5.5.
Very good. Yep.
But here's the thing, though. I'm thinking 5.5, but I think it obviously is doable. I mean, you dropped how much time from last year? I mean, you dropped like 30 minutes. So if you drop another,
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, if you drop 15 minutes, you're right near 5.5.
Right.
It's hard. Obviously, it's harder to go.
Right.
It's harder to lose 15 minutes from where you are now than than 15 minutes if you were at 6.5 still. But I think 5.5 is a good goal for you. I think that's amazing to cut an hour in really
From
2
when I
years.
started.
Yeah, from when you started.
Yeah.
I think that's.
And my half, I want to get my half to under 2:30, which I think I should be able to do that because I just did a 2:31.
Oh, yeah. I think you could do that. That's a good one. That's a good one too. So you have a half in mind that you're thinking of doing, or do you do one every year?
Not really yet. There's actually one in December, but I don't know if that's like I would just run that one just to run it. I don't think I'd try to do that as my 2:30 because. But I'll tell you, I need the goals. The goals. I don't know. I need them because that's what kind of keeps me going. I hate already like not having anything on my plan, no goal or anything. It just, know.
Yeah, it's and that's the way to do it is to just have something in mind that you go for, And I tell you, when I'm on the bike in my basement, I have my Lake Placid Ironman poster from this past year on the right, and I just when I'm suffering, sometimes I just turn my head and I look at it, or I'll even just touch it, and just to be like, I remember last year when you didn't finish, and it's just a reminder because you can go through training and lose focus, and then. Not having something to go for, and obviously it worked for you this year. So I think maybe that's a good goal for next year.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So listen, let's wrap it up here. I'm so happy for you, though. I'm really like, I don't know. I mean, if there's one person on the page that I really wanted them to reach their goal, it's definitely.
I appreciate that.
And I was staring at that thing all day, just like, come on.
I know, and I figured that. I'm like, what am I going to do if I don't make it? And I knew you would have been totally fine. Remember, we talked about it even the night before. I go, what's going to happen if I don't make my goal?
Yeah, and
said to me, it was something nice, though. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it actually made me feel better. You were like, nothing. You'll just come back, you'll try it again, and you'll get it next year. So...
you know what? You can't. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to like ostracize you from the group.
I knew.
But it's I mean, things happen out when you're out there, so it wouldn't have been anything. And maybe you would have said, hey, you know what? I got to add a February marathon. I got to do it again. I got to try again. Yep. Maybe you would have done something like that because you were trained for it. I knew you were trained for it. Some people, I wonder. Some people go into an event and I'm like, I've been watching and I don't know that they're ready for this. And sometimes I
can tell you watch. I can always tell from the comment stuff. I'm like, he's paying attention.
Well, you know what? Because I know how fast I am. Like I typically know how fast I am. So it's not like I'm racing people, but I know people who are a little slower, a little faster, and you kind of, especially once they start posting and they post their workouts over and over. Like I know that Carla is a lot faster than me. And then, so when I see her numbers, I know, wow, she had a really great run, or wow, something's wrong. Like, and she had injury lately. So it's like, you kind of get a feeling for the people that you see there all the time. And I knew that you were doing well. So it was good to see and really happy for you.
Thank you. And thanks for having me on again.
Oh, you're welcome. It's funny because like the first time you're like, I don't know if I want to be on. I'm a little nervous.
Look at me. I'm like, what do you want to do it again?
All right. So let's wrap it up there. Next week, let me see. Next week, I'm going to have Jen Bergstrom on. Another one finished her goal. She did a 100-mile race. Yeah,
I know. I've been following her too. She's awesome too.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's incredible, and she's had races where she was off too, and she didn't finish. She'll tell you that she was just training, so it's not a real DNF. But we actually had a little argument over that. But so this time she has been going after this thing for a better part of a year, and she has trained really hard. And, I know when we did the Ordinary Marathon back in May, she did like a 32-mile training run. So I knew that she was focused and she was after it. And we're going to find out all about her race next week. And until then, always remember, when it comes to running, I'm no expert. I'm just ordinary.